Hey Flosstube, it's Lisa Smith, Kindred Stitcher. Today is May 31st, the last day of Mania 2020. And I'm filming today in my craft room, which I usually do, but it is a mess. My husband is building a shelving unit for me. It's sort of where my cross-stitch materials are. So I pulled stuff away from walls and put them on couches, and this is the only place that I could kind of isolate. And even there's piles of stuff over here. So it's the last day of Mania. I started my last day project today, but I paused stitching so I could work a little bit and then shoot this video. So today I'm going to talk a little bit about Stitch Mania and what happened the last 2 weeks, what I think I'll do in June, some things that I bought, and some stitchers that I've watched on Flosstube, and what else? I think that's it for today. Probably enough, but I'm going to start with shouting out a few stitchers. A few videos ago, I asked people if they'd like me to watch their Flosstube channel, if they could just put it in comments, and so these are the people that responded. I didn't go back and watch all of them until just recently. So if I missed one in there and you want me to go watch, please just let me know. I apologize. Sometimes I get busy with life. So I have Becca Sambry Stitches. So Becca is a Pacific Northwest stitcher, and she hosts the Kitsap Peninsula Stitchers. They have a stitching meetup on Mondays, and they've been doing Zoom meetings while we have been locked down. So hopefully that will change. We can go back to in-person meetings in the future. And she has a dog named Shadow. That dog's adorable. And Becca's great. You should go check out her channel. She has a lot of great finishing things too. I think she just went to Michael's. They opened up, and so she went and bought everything in the store. Then I have Grace Notes Stitchers, and the channel name is under Corinne Simpson. I will link everyone below, but she and her daughter have a Flosstube video, and they do a lot of mirrors and lavender and lace. And I think Corinne may have been a model stitcher, if I remember from one of her videos. Julia, the Stitch Girl podcast. I think Julia might be from Canada, if I remember correctly. She's a very diverse multi-crafter, and I enjoyed listening to her. Stitching with a Dachshund, Sherry. And so Sherry does a nice job of kind of talking about her life updates, if you enjoy that, and also her stitching. Nisi Lynn, I may have mentioned in a previous video, Nisi Lynn is a hoot and a holler. She is hilarious. In fact, she talked about having a temper, and her husband has a temper, and something about maybe putting one of those knife magnets in her kitchen. She said I should better not do that because in case she got mad and threw things, she didn't want to throw knives at her husband. So those are my shout outs this week. And my notifications, I will never catch up. I've just resigned to the fact that I'm never gonna be able to catch up on my inbox, because that's only the people with notifications. And so many people are doing daily or weekly videos that I can't keep with pace. So a couple of commenters I would like to mention and give a shout out to. Mary Lang from Georgia. I've shouted you out once before, but I adore Mary. Mary buys bags from me, but she also has more stash than I do, and that's hard to find. So she has an Instagram account. I love Mary's comments too. She's a sweetheart. She's Stitcher211. And Karen Macon. I love me some Karen Macon. Karen is one of the most positive people commenters on Flosstube and Instagram, and I met her at Stitch Shenanigans last year. So thank you for your positivity, Karen. I really appreciate you. And then Roxy Voorhees. Roxy told me on one of my videos that I am her #1 enabler. And I think, Roxy, you might be, do you go to Julie's shop, Reflections, Framing and Stitching, I think? Anyway, so I love y'all. Lots of beautiful comments. I truly appreciate everyone. Every once in a while, I like to shout out a couple of Instagram or Flosstube folks too, watchers. So let's talk about stitching. I would say that this has been the most awesome Mania ever. I love it. Patriarch stitching is just right up my alley. And I wanted, the hard part of Mania is that you start something and then you put it down to start something else the next day. So I found myself sometimes going back and working on projects. Sometimes I had a lot of time in the evening. Sometimes I was starting projects at 10 o'clock at night. So in June, what I hope to do is collect or just prioritize my projects. So I would say that there's probably 6 or so of the projects that I can probably finish like that. So my goal is to go through and finish those quickly, reintegrate threads into my thread stash. And then from there, I probably will have a rotation. I might have like a couple, 2 or 3 rotations on, oops, sorry about that, you guys. 2 or 3 rotations where I will go through those other projects and see if I can make some progress on them. There's nothing that was really huge. I thought as I looked through my projects, most of them were smalls. There were a few mediums, and I thought maybe there were some larges, but they weren't really that large after all. And yeah, so they're great. Can't wait to finish them. Let me show you what happened. All right, so these are not going to be in order in the days that I stitched them because that would require some more planning than I've had today. And some of my threads I'm pulling between projects too. So the first one is on the pile is Where Liberty Dwells by Hands On Design. And I'm stitching this one here. I did substitute the red. And some of these I kept notes of what I've substituted, and some of them I have not. In fact, when I go to finish them, I'm going to have to look through my stash, which I've kept the projects on my dining room table for the month of May because it's just my husband and I, and we sit at the breakfast table or in the living room or outside. It's okay. And which helps because then if I'm looking for a thread, I can go to a different project if I'm sharing threads between projects. So I stitched this on 32 count lamb's wool. I didn't get very far. This was one of those where, here, I'll just stick this up here. I started in the middle on this one. And I used to always start in the middle. Now I start in the lower left usually and go up, or even the lower right. Depends if I'm stitching in hand or not. I think if I'm stitching in hand, lower right is easier because it's easier for me to stitch this direction. But if I'm poke and stab, or if I'm using a frame 2-hand stitching, I usually start the lower left. This is smoky, what is this one called? That thread. It's kind of an unusual thread. What is it? Wood smoke. Yeah, so that's the first one. And that one, I think that will go pretty quickly. The next one is Grace on the Plum Street. And this is a kit. I bought it as a kit. Here's my threads. There you go. That's very beautiful. But I did get some progress on this one. I really enjoyed this one. And the grass I thought would take a while didn't take very long at all. So look at that little doorway. Isn't that cute? Yep. I think this one's been released now, if I remember correctly. Looking forward to stitching on that one as well. I have a pile here. I'm trying not to drop things onto the floor, but we'll see. It's a little messy. Then there's Lila. This is Abby Rose Designs. It kind of looks like a Lila Studio, but it's Abby Rose Designs, Let Freedom Ring. I think what I've decided to do with this one, because I absolutely love stitching on this one, is I think I'm going to frame it. With the rest of them, I'm not. I'm going to make pillows or what have you. But I really like the colors on this one. I did substitute the pink. And I think what this calls for, I think this will have like a big chunky frame around it. Maybe something just really, a lot of swirls or flowers or something like that on there. But I just really love this one. Love stitching on it. This is on, I think this is this is 40 count, but I want to say this is pearl barley, not vintage, just regular pearl barley. Try and keep the threads together. I think when I'm done also with all my new starts is I might just finish those that I can finish quickly, and I might put all of the rest of the threads on one big ring. Because if I'm sharing them between projects, there's no sense in me digging around trying to find them. All right, we'll see. The next one is, this is a club kit from Dying to Stitch. This is Some Gave All by Heartstring Samplery. Veterans Day at Twin Gables. That's the actual title. And this is as far as I got. I want to say this is a Zweigart fabric, maybe dirty khaki, or let's see if I can find out. Vintage homespun. Oh, it's an R&R. What do I know? This is an R&R vintage homespun. I really like the color on it though. That little flag, isn't that cute? Sweet. And I'm thinking about different finishes. I may do that as a pillow. I'm not sure. I might. The other one that's very similar, I'm going to change the color of the house. I'll show it to you momentarily. But I might, I don't know what I'm going to do yet. I'm figuring it out. Where's that? Some of these projects have a lot of pages and some of them have fewer. All right, so here is, I really like this one, Liberty Sampler by the City Stitcher. That is a fantastic house, as is the lettering. I really like the lettering on this too. So this is on, I think this is just 36 count Zweigart antique ivory, and it's a huge start. This was a 10 o'clock in the evening start, and I just sometimes put a thread end at the top to know where the top is. Probably wouldn't matter on this one, but it might make a little bit of a difference, not much. So not a lot of progress on that one. Looking forward to putting that in a rotation. Then I started Where Liberty Dwells by Palm Street, and I started this one, but I have them both, and I counted them as one start. Again, I don't have everything organized in terms of how the threads are going to lay here, so very disorganized today. But I did, and again, this is a little window in the middle that I started, not a big start. I didn't spend as much time on this one, but I know based on this, the colors in this, that I will not want to put this down once I get going on it. And I want to say this is 40 count fresco by Picture This Plus. And the other piece that goes with this is also fresco. It's just a little bit different part of the linen that I cut apart. So that one I'm looking forward to getting back to. This one is, oh lordy, this is the one I worked yesterday. So this one is a Dying to Stitch clip piece. I think it's 2017. Sorry for all the noise. It is Clustered Stars by Blackbird Designs. This one is much bigger than I thought it would be. I was surprised. And I'm using the linen that came with it. I worked on this yesterday, and see, this is pretty good sized. I stitched this border twice because I was watching, my husband and I were binge watching Hollywood on Netflix. Thank you, Julie and Sarah, Gulf Coast Stitches. They gave some recommendations on what they've been watching, so we watched that. And I loved that series. It was great. But I stitched here and all the way down, and I got all the way up here, and I was off by one thread horizontally. So I pulled it back, and I kept the thread because you never know how much thread you're going to need, and it was clear to here. So then I corrected where I made a mistake, and I went back up here, and I got going, and I was up. I was off one thread vertically, and it was back over here. So I don't know how I missed it the first time that I ripped out, and this time I decided to rip back this way. I restitched it. It matches now. But I was seriously, I don't lose my temper very often, but I wanted to throw this across the room. I had had enough. So this is what I love about this is the back. And then this is the front. And then when you open it up, there's a sampler in the middle. And then on the other side is this flag. And I think you coffee tea dye this flag. So this is going to be a fun one to finish. I'm excited to see what it looks like when it's completely done. I'm going to stick this back in the bag so that I don't, who knows where it'll land. And more black. No, this is a with thy needle and thread. The next one, I was really looking forward to starting this one. Summer in Baltimore. I have the box, and I have some ticking that I have put to the side as well. It has a couple of, maybe one substitution, and this was the uniform blue that I was saved by a couple stitchers, Darlene Baumgartner and Shelly Kiak Stitch. She sent me some too, so thank you, ladies. Huge thank you to you. I really had some good time to spend on this one. And the bird, so this is one evening I got the bird done. And this is another odd piece of 40 count fresco that I have enough of that same linen to do the pin scissor fob or pin keep, whatever that is. But this was a Jenga puzzle because what I had of the 40 count fresco, I wanted to make sure that I got those 2 plum street pieces done. And then I also I had enough. This was easy. I just had an end piece for this one. But I had to sort of figure out how much I could cheat on cutting the other 2 pieces to make sure I had enough to do this pin keep. First, I had a different color fabric, and it was okay, but it wasn't really what I wanted. So I ended up figuring out how I could squeeze that out. That one, I loved what I'm stitching on this one. As you can tell, I got quite a ways along on it one day. All right. This one is another kit, Crinkle Crinkle. It is heartstring samplery, and I think this was also part of her Dying to Stitch Club. Where Liberty Dwells, Housewife. One thing about starting these in Mania is you have to sit down and pay attention because your kitted items, you don't want to screw it up. You might not have enough. So this is how far I got on that housewife. Just that nice little start on the middle, and also read the directions, right? So that she tells you you have to start in the middle, or it'll tell you cut another piece, or just whatever it is, pay attention to the instructions, because if you don't, you'll be pretty sad when things don't work out. Beth also has some tutorials on her blog, which I was grateful for. I just went to her blog and read sort of what this will look like when it's done. And that helped me visualize where I needed to place my fabric on some of this. Where to place my stitch piece. I don't even know what I'm saying. Okay. Oh, glory. Little House Needleworks. There's my colors. And I'm going to run out of this bean sprout, pea pod, but I have it in another project, so I have to borrow it. This, I actually like the lamb's wool. It doesn't bother me. Once you get going, it's really stiff when you start it, but when you start working with your hands, it loosens up pretty good. I don't seem to have a problem. This one's going to be a pretty good size piece. A lot bigger than I thought it was going to be. See, when you look at this, don't you think it's going to be like a 3x3 piece? No. It's going to be bigger. I might do this one as a stand-up. I'm not sure. Not a stand-up, a flat fold, which stands up. So there's that one. Okay, here's the companion piece to the heartstring Veterans Day piece. This is Flag Day at Twin Gables. And I do think I'm going to change the color of the house. And I'm either going to make it yellow, blue, or red. I haven't decided. Probably yellow because there's so much red and blue in this anyway. Yeah. This one, I started at the bottom left corner. Sometimes I start bottom left, sometimes I start middle. Because these two are similar, I decided to start them in different places so I didn't feel like I was stitching all that green at the bottom forever and ever. And 12 House Sampler by The Drawn Thread. This one is almost all DMC. I think there's a couple, yeah, there's 3 overdyes. 12 House Sampler. Isn't that cute? So sweet. Again with the lamb's wool. This would be pretty good sized. Probably be about this big. Now, I have a couple of bigger ones that are left. They're not huge, but they're bigger. Here is a Patriot sampler from Midsummer Night Designs. And I want to say Carolyn from the Attic Needlework, she and Jean, they've done a few videos. If you watch the last one, it's two tarts and their starts. They're so damn funny together. But this is hanging on the wall when they do their patriotic review, patriotic designs. So I think that Summer Night Designs has been out of business, but they may have a source to get them printed occasionally. So, and I spent one day and then I worked on this a little bit the second day as well. So what's interesting about this is when you look at this, it's all bluish looking, right? But when you look at this, it's much brighter, and which I'm really enjoying. I like the brightness of it. I am going to stitch some of this though, and I may darken some of the elements. Like the house is actually red and blue. And the picket fence is red. So I may change that and make the picket fence black. I don't know. I'll figure it out as I go. Because you just never know what's going to happen. You never know what's going to happen in my house. So this one I've been looking forward to, and this was gifted to me by a stitcher. I think, well, Mary Ellie Beams is no longer in business, and I think the designer had a house fire and lost a lot of her models, if not all of them, which is really sad. But I really appreciate, I cannot wait to continue to stitch on this. I haven't gotten very far because I just sat down this morning and got it started. This is a dark green. It's an overdyed Victorian motto. But I am looking forward to working on this one. This is a Zweigart cream or ivory, or I don't know. It's a standard. It's not an overdyed fabric. But I do love the colors in this. I love it. It's a classic. It's a perfect sampler, as Laura from Serial Starter would say. It's a perfect sampler. One other one. Oh, I forgot to point this one out. Now this one was my introduction to 1/1 on 28 count. Souvenirs of the Heart by With Thy Needle. I'm obsessed. Once I get these done, I'm going to go back to the ABC series. What's that called? The one with the 4 pieces. I don't know, but I've got pieces cut out, and the other ones that are in this series I'm going to stitch too. And this is just the tiniest, most precious thing. It's like a little mini Haid almost, you know, it's all fully stitched. And I absolutely loved stitching on it. Loved it, loved it, loved it. I have a different finish in mind for this too. It's going to be a pillow, but it's going to be a little bit different shape. So stay tuned. So that's where my Mania results are for today. I was going to wait till next weekend to film, but I just decided I didn't have time. I needed to get it done, get it up right, because life goes on and it happens fast. So let's talk about some haul. First of all, I'm going to show you something that I got that y'all might like if you're a Jane Austen fan. This says Society of Obstinate Headstrong Girls. Seriously displeasing people. Oops, can you see? Seriously displeasing people since 1813. I love it. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen. So I got that. It kept coming up in my newsfeed, and I was like, God, I really, really, really like that shirt. So I just bought it. I thought, well, why not? I had a couple finishes, fully finished objects here too before I get into the rest of my purchases. But Faye Rigsby from the Carolina Stitcher. We have some amazing finishers in our community. There's so many good people. And I just really appreciate the work that went into this. Yeah, 2016. I don't know why I waited so long, but she just did a gorgeous job on this. So I feel like I got my Mania plan started already by having a finish, an FFO before I'm even done. And she also finished this one. What I love is you just send something to her and do whatever you want with it. And then that's when people who are creative really are at their best. It's a little needle roll. It is the sweetest. I don't even remember what pattern this is, but it had some pulled threads and some specialty stitches. It's got rickrack on it. It's this really pretty, dainty, beautiful, beautiful fabric. You just tuck a little something sweet in there. Fold it up. Tie it. Don't you love that? I just love it. All right, so you ready for, ready for some haul? I'm going to show you a couple things. I'm going to show you one good thing at the very end. I had seen this before the whole GGR bonanza. I saw this on maybe Teresa's website. I can't remember where I saw this. And that red flower down there it got me. Because I love the red things, you guys. This one is Jane Southward, 1836. Well, I'll take this out because it's worth taking a look at with no glare. I love a red sampler. It can be a red house, a red door, a red flower, a red bird. I just love red. So I got that one. And I also picked up the Common Thread 2 by Jeanette Douglas. And this is also beautiful. I want to say Janine had this at Acorns and Threads. She might have had the model there. The colors are incredible on this piece. I love it. I love it. And the next one, also very colorful. I'm not going to take this one out because it's got the terrible, nobody likes this. Jane Fidds, 1835, Hands Across the Sea. I cannot wait to start this one. But I think I am probably going to start this one and stitch it in silk. I just love it. It's one of my very favorite ones that she's ever produced. It's gorgeous. All the colors are in there. I think all the beautiful colors. I picked this one up, Carriage House Sampling Blooming Basket. And I want to say this came out at Market. But why did I not see this? Is that not fantastic? Look at that flower. And this little vase planter thing. And look at these. I mean, it's so interesting. All of it. I love all of it. I did pick up some of the gems. What does she call those? Little Gems by Hands Across the Sea. Like this one, I may just stitch this. it's quite possible that that might be the only thing I stitch off of this. And I'm not sure if I showed you that I had this one, Project Quarantine. Got that from the Silver Needle. I can't remember where I picked this one up. Traditional, oh, this is a Moira Blackburn. This one, I love the form and content of this. I think I'll change the colors though. I haven't done a floss toss, but this says, he who sows courtesy reaps friendship, and who plants kindness gathers love. It's gorgeous. That one is called Beehive Sampler. Then I was in a mood. I was more patriotic sampler mood. Paulette. This is the new constellation. Liberty Lodge. That's really cute. And My Peaceful Home. I'm not sure if I'd make this into a drum or just a little sampler. I don't know. I got this off of Stash and Load, French woolens. I like this when it came out. I don't know why I didn't buy it back then. And then Swanky Sim and I are going to start this on 4th of July. Instagram, Swanky Sim. Sweet Land of Liberty by Heinzit Designs. And then, but I'm going to change mine. I'm going to take this bottom section and I'm going to redesign it completely. I don't know what I'm going to do with it, but I'm going to redesign it. And then I have to say thank you to Kimberly Young from Sassy Jacks. She showed this. She shows reference books on her channel, and I really appreciate that. Fundamentals Made Fancy, Hardanger, however you say it. She says, I think this might be out of print. Google says otherwise. I got this from Ingebrigtsens. It's in Minnesota, and it is a Scandinavian store of some kind. So you can get it. It's available. All right, so I do have one more thing. This one, I know. I don't think that this has, does this have a date on it? I think I looked at it. I couldn't find a date. It might. I'll have to get my sleuthing skills back on it, but sorry for the reflections on this. There are eyelet stitches, and then there are great birds, and these berry clusters, some peacocks, berry bowl, and these fantastic, I don't know what this is called, like a border. And I want to say that might be Scottish, but I'm not an expert on antique samplers. So if you know where that Genesis, where you normally see this, please let me know. I see a bunch of initials on this, but I don't see a name. But the colors are just fantastic. And the linen color is fantastic too. It's like autumn gold. I bought it on eBay. And if you watch, you'll find good deals. It was very reasonable. Very reasonable. So I've got plans. I just have to survive a couple more years and I've got plans. So let's see what else. Not much else I can think of. I'm just trying to do some house projects still, and I have vacation in June, so I'm going to do some FFOing. Hopefully my shelving unit is done in here, and I'll do some painting in my craft room and some cleaning out, and I've done some Marie Kondoing of the inside of my house, and I probably will need to do a little bit of that in my craft room too. Not too much though, because stash, right? I hope you all have a great day. I hope you're enjoying your version of Stitch Mania, or if you didn't participate, if you enjoyed just watching people. And I hope that you find peace in this time of unrest. I hope that you find some peace in your life. Have a great day. I'll see you next time.